movie about finding about Jyn Erso, the main protagonist in the film, finding where she came from or heading somewhere. She knows where she came from. It's very clear. She's like, she knows who she is. She has found herself. This is a story about her and how she helps to steal the Death Star plans, and for whatever the motivation is that we'll find out. But she says this is not like Rey, where she's going on a journey finding out who she is. No, this woman knows already who she is and where she came from. And that to me is really cool because, again, you're going to have a lot to absorb and enjoy without having to get hung up on all those other questions. That's a part of, not a negative thing, but it is a part of The Force Awakens that, to me, it's a bummer we can't do more of that because you have so many questions with the characters that we care about, which we feel are important as fans. But you don't really have time to, and you don't see as much conversation when it comes to the planets and the ships and things of this nature. You don't gravitate towards that as much because you want to talk about the characters. Remember though that that's the way it was with A New Hope, right? What I mean by that is when A New Hope came out, we initially thought that was it. I mean, even as kids, you didn't really think in terms of furthering the story. We just thought, sequels. Sorry, my had a brain fart there. You didn't really think in terms of sequels. It was like that was it. And so you could get into you really got into all the little intricacies and the characters and their goofy on the nose names and everything. Because you weren't really going, well, what's going to happen with Luke? Boy, where did Vader go? Holy cow, who's this Emperor guy we were talking about? We didn't really have those discussions. We were just playing with the toys, making our own adventures. We weren't having lengthy discussions, about Luke's father and did he find him. I mean, it's really kind of interesting because when I go back and think about it as a kid, knowing now like how obsessed we all are, not just me, a lot of people, not just me, but how obsessed I am, with knowing who Rey's parents are. When Star Wars came out, I mean, that was a driving force of the film. That was a reason as a kid that I was so connected with that movie, was because of Luke not knowing who his dad was. And I'm close to my dad. I'm like, man, I can't imagine what it must be like for that Luke Skywalker kid and not know who his dad is. And then, Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru got crispy fried by the Empire. And it must be horrible. But when the movie is over, he never finds out. I mean, he finds out, of course, in Empire Strikes Back. But initially, after the first movie came out, you didn't really know. You just wanted to go play with the toys. And again, that's what's cool about Rogue One. I just want to go play with the toys. All right, so, a couple of things of note from this sizzle reel that I wanted to point out. It looks epic. It really does look epic. We've got a couple of different planets we know we're going to. We know we're going to Yavin 4. Okay, that's obvious. That's where the Rebel home base is. We know we're going to this new planet, Jeddah. We know that we are going to. Now it escaped me now. Scarif? Is it Scarif? I think it was Scarif. Hold on, let me look. Yes, Planet Scarif. My apologies. And I have some breaking news here in just a moment. But we know they're going to Planet Scarif. We know we're going to Jeddah. We know we're going to Yavin 4. And let's see, that's 3. Wasn't there? We have the Death Star. So, I mean, and I think actually one of those, there's another one in there we haven't heard of yet, right? So 5? Because in the trailer, or not in the trailer, in some of the footage that was released from Entertainment Weekly, there was a shot of a stormtrooper holding a doll. And that was shot in Iceland, I believe. I could be wrong on that. So we know that Scarif is the tropical planet. We know that Jeddah is the planet that looks kind of dusty and brown. We have the Death Star. And now I've lost it. Now I've lost it again. Yavin 4. And then there's also whatever that other planet is that we saw, which I think is probably Jin's home with her father. Mads Mikkelsen plays her father in the movie. His name is Galen. So I mean that's 5 locations. And that's one more than what we got in The Force Awakens, unless you count the Hosnian system that got blown up by Starkiller Base. So you have Starkiller Base, you have Dakar, you have Takodana, you have the the Hosnian system, and then, of course, you have Jakku. That's sort of keeping in theme. But that, again, that's a lot more than I thought we were going to get. That's pretty large in scope. The movie, again, just based off that sizzle reel, looks like it's going to be epic. And as I described last week in some of the book leaks that came out, there's a massive installation above Scarif where the Death Star is being built that is supposed to be a docking station for the Empire and Star Destroyers. And so this movie looks huge. Side note really quick, and I know I'm jumping around here, but I'm looking at the clock going, I got to start moving through this quickly. I know that in the trailers, and certainly in the sizzle reel footage, there's shots of them running across on the tropical planet being shot at by the AT-ACTs. And that's, of course, one of the final shot the second to final shot in the teaser trailer before they see Jyn Erso in the black Imperial flight outfit. That looks like it's going to be towards the end of the movie because she has the data tapes in her hand. They look like old computer hard drives. It's really interesting. But in the trailer, the moment in the teaser trailer when they're loading the cannon into the front of the Death Star, and you see the Star Destroyer off to the side, which is similar to the Star Destroyer that you see at the opening of A New Hope. I can't help but wonder if that's not like one of the ending shots of the movie. Like that Star Destroyer is getting ready to leave to try to go and track down the Death Star plans that have been beamed to the rebel spies. I want to know what happened to the plans they've sent you. See, I can do the same thing that Gareth Edwards did. I can recite the whole movie if I wanted to. Just a complete and total side note. Okay, back to the sizzle reel. A couple of things that I thought were really, really cool in it. So hopefully you've had a chance to watch it by now. There's a shot of Orson Krennic, played by Ben Mendelsohn. He's in the white outfit with the long white cape. There's a shot of him on the Death Star, I don't know what you'd call it, one of the command rooms. It's the room where in A New Hope they took Princess Leia with Tarkin and Vader when they blew up Alderaan. And it's got that weird sort of triangle, diamond shape, I don't know what shape you'd call it, window. There's a shot of Orson Krennic in there where they're obviously filming it. You can see the camera crew because it's behind-the-scenes footage. What's interesting about it is there's a planet out the window. The shot's not completed. You're not looking at the shot in the sizzle reel from it being lifted from the movie. The camera that's being used, you can see to film the movie. So this is an actual picture of the movie being filmed. And in the original teaser trailer, the first time you saw Ben Mendelsohn's character was him standing there in front of that window with the planet behind him holding the gun. The movie actually put a moving image of the planet behind that window. I thought that was awesome. So instead of filling it in CGI later and using a blue screen or a green screen, they actually went and put an image outside of the window on that set of the planet that they are above, which I assume is Scarif. Also in the sizzle reel, you can see a sort of mock-up of the U-Wing, which we haven't seen on screen yet. This is one of the Rebel transports. Really cool looking ship. It has the four engines like it's like a combination. It's like if a Y-Wing, an A-Wing, and an X-Wing got together, split up their collective incom DNA, and created another ship, it would be this one. So it's a combination of those three fighters. So it shows it on a gimbal, and it's shaking, right? Obviously filming an action sequence. What I haven't heard anybody talking about is it's in front of a giant video screen. So if the actors are in that ship, which you assume they are, we saw the same thing with Daisy Ridley and the Millennium Falcon being shot for The Force Awakens. But when they shot it, they actually shot it with the footage of what was outside of the spaceship in front of them. So they can capture it live on screen as opposed to going and filling it in later. And we've actually heard they did this with a lot of different shots. They put in TIE fighters with these 360-degree screens around them showing the footage of them in whatever environment they're flying in, so that when they shot the pilots inside of the cockpit, when they looked out the window, you were actually looking at the environment and not something that was added later on in post-production. They did something very similar to, if you've seen the movie with Tom Cruise, Oblivion. They did something similar with that, with their home that they were living in that was way up sort of in the clouds. They did a wraparound to get that same sort of effect. Also, in some of the footage in the sizzle reel, we did see who everybody thinks is Bail Organa. Actually looks like Jimmy Smits, which is really cool. He, of course, played Bail Organa in Revenge of the Sith and in Attack of the Clones. So we actually see him there on with Mon Mothma. So that's really cool, and that's to be, I would think, expected. I mean, he was such a big part of the rebellion in the original movie. We also saw what looked like Tarkin. Now, we've been told from the beginning that Tarkin was supposed to be a CGI character to make him look just like him, so this might just be a stand-in, but it certainly looked like Tarkin, and it was in the same shot of Orson Krennic standing in front of the window with the planet underneath. We got to see some of the new characters, and it's clear, based off the sizzle reel, there's going to be a lot of different creatures in the movie, which has a lot of people excited, including myself. We saw live images of the two rebel soldier creatures, if you will. One of them they call a space monkey. I don't know what they call the other guy. But these were both shown in some of the artwork that came out in the book leak that we talked about in previous podcast as well. And I guess my last comment is I'm really excited now about Jyn Erso and Felicity Jones. Now that we've seen a little bit more from her, I'm not incredibly familiar with her work apart from just a few things that I've seen her in, and probably most specifically The Amazing Spider-Man 2, which she didn't have a lot of scenes in. But she seems like a very good, dynamic actress, and seeing a few more shots of her, and certainly that one at the end of the trailer that I mentioned. I'll just play it one more time.
May the Force be with us.
She's a character that I'm really looking forward to seeing now on screen. She's got me excited for her character in and of itself. All right, before we got just a few minutes left here, right now at Celebration, the Rebels panel is going on, and as everybody expected, an expanded universe character, one of the most popular expanded universe characters, is coming back in Rebels. Grand Admiral Thrawn, who was originally in the sequel trilogy books written by Timothy Zahn after Return of the Jedi that everybody loves so much that ended up becoming the stuff of legend now. They're bringing his character back, and I'm looking at the first image of Grand Admiral Thrawn right now. And if I get a chance, I'll try to pop a link into the notes for this week's podcast. So with that, we're out of time. Got through a lot. Looking forward to finding out if we hear more new information coming out of Celebration this weekend, and certainly, and maybe stuff about Episode 8, since the panel with Rian Johnson, the director, and Kathleen Kennedy takes place tomorrow. Anything huge breaks, and I'll be back on to record another podcast. Thank you for joining me. If you want to email, talkshownerd@gmail.com. And until we talk next week, and episode 58, barring no breaking news, may the Force be with you, always.
My Nerd World.